Hey, what's up? It's Jake from Nimbus DevOps, and I'm here today to talk about Hashicorp Vault policies. If you haven't already done so, make sure you go configure your HCP access or your command line access and your environment variables and create your secrets engine and your secret so we can start playing with Vault policies. So, Vault policies are a declarative way to grant or forbid access to certain paths. Visual aid shown here. Any of these paths are these are namespaces, and then the secret would be the path, right, for the namespace. Um, and yeah, that's pretty much it. You can either allow somebody to do something, or you can be like, nope, go home, you're drunk. So we're gonna go ahead and create a policy and then edit it. If like to kind of simulate somebody comes to you with a requirement and then they go, hey, we need to change this a little bit. So you know how to kind of manage policies. So the policies are going to be written in HCL. So do I have a Vault folder? I do. Look at that. How convenient. There's not really anything in here. Um, there's a Vault directory. Oh, I see what happened here. Okay, so let's just make a directory called policies, and we'll go into that guy. And then in here, I'm just going to make a policy. So like I said, they're in HCL. The policy format uses a prefix matching system on the API path to determine your access control. So the most specific defined policy is used, either an exact match or the longest prefix glob match. Since everything in Vault has to be accessed via the API, it gives strict control over every aspect of Vault, including enabling secrets engines, enabling auth methods, authenticating, and like secrets access. So again, policies, just like everything else, are tied to namespace. So when you create a policy in the admin namespace, the policy is only available in that admin namespace. And that allows you to keep each namespace isolated and secure and have its own policies. There are two out-of-the-box policies in the admin namespace. And if I go to policies here, you can see there's default and there's HCP root. Do not ever edit the HCP root policy. The admin token generated by the HCP portal has the HCP root policy attached, which grants permissions necessary for any initial setup. So if you modify this policy, it could deny you from performing admin tasks. And that would suck. So don't edit your root account IAM permissions in AWS. Same kind of deal. Okay, so let me go ahead and show you how to do this in the web UI. Okay, so in the web UI, make sure you're in the admin namespace. Okay, current namespace, admin. And then select policies here. And then what we're going to do, since we have these two default ones, we're going to create an ACL policy, an access control list policy. So this is just going to be my little tester. So we're going to name it tester. And then I'm going to copy and paste some stuff I have here from Hashicorp. And so this path, secret data test, okay, is going to grant create, read, and update permission to paths prefixed. So anything prefixed by secret data test. So whatever's in this directory will have this policy attached to it. And then the managed namespace is just going to be path system namespaces create, read, update, delete list. So this will allow you to grant those permissions. So once you have this copy and pasted, or you can just pause it and type it or whatever you want to do, you click create policy. And look at that, it looks so fancy, right? It's even linted. And it's created and the view displays its name and the contents. So this is the literal view of it. This isn't my code. This is what it looks like. So if I go back to ACL policies, I can see these three. Check this out. If I click on tester, it's kind of nice. Like you can just see it right in there in HCL, which is super handy. You can also add policies. Like I said, this is in the admin. You could do it to another namespace. So the policy path's totally relative to the namespace where it's deployed. So I deployed this from admin, so it would be admin secret data test, right? So if you wanted to access the database path, like if there's a training database, then I'd have to go um, to the database path in admin education training from the admin namespace, and then the policy would have to be education training database. So let's try that. So if I go to education, and then a child namespace would be training, right? So I'm in admin education training. Okay. Um, then I created a policy. That policy would be specific to this namespace. Okay. So if I make a policy path, remember like I did before with here, let me put it in here with just like a little um, demo.hcl. Oops. Touch demo.hcl. BI demo.hcl. There. Cat demo.hcl. All right. So if I have this path secret data test, this is relative to admin. So right now I'm not in admin. I'm in admin education training. So if I wanted to pass that path, I would literally just need to pass database. So if I go back into the admin namespace, so I'm in education, I go back another one, now I'm in admin, you would have to pass a full path because, again, the paths are relative to the namespace where you create the policy. Okay, so we deploy, let's see, we're going to need one that looks kind of like this. So if we did policies, and I have this tester one right here, if I made another one and I named it, I don't know, database or something like that, database, and I just put in like database specific policies, right? You notice the path I have is education training database because I'm already in admin. So if I was in training, if I was in admin education training, my path would just be database with no slash in front of it, like this. Make sense? So it's all relative to where you are. So I could do this. I could create this policy, and now I have another ACL policy in my admin. So even though that lives inside education training, the policy is for admin, not for education, and not for admin education training. Okay. So if I were to create the same policy, all right, so remember, let's go take a look. Path education training database. If I were to make the same thing, I would make it in education. If I go to education, I go to policies. Notice there's nothing here. So if I create another one here and I call it database, to make the same exact create, read, update, delete CRUD operation permissions, I would just pass training database because I'm in education. I'm in admin education already. So this is all relative to wherever you create it, and that's just so each namespace's policies can be unique. Okay, so I can create this policy, and now I have my default and a database ACL policy inside of education namespace. And if I go to admin and I look at the policies in admin, I've got a database here, but it has a different path. So that's pretty cool, right? Curl is ugly. You've noticed I kind of gloss over it in all of my videos. I'm gonna skip curl because you can look it up if you want to, but I just hate using curl. It's like the dumbest thing ever. So we're gonna do something else. We're gonna do CLI. So make sure your Vault namespace is set. So I'm just gonna echo Vault underscore namespace. I want to make sure I'm in the, oh hey, how's it going? I'm in the admin namespace. So that's good. That's where I want to be. So we're going to go ahead and write a policy from the command line. So you can always use the help flag if you need to. So I could do vault policy write, and then you can just pass -h, and it'll tell you, hey, here's your options, right? which is kind of useful. I'm a big fan of man pages and help pages, so this will tell you exactly how to use it, what arguments you can pass, all that stuff. Pretty easy. So what we're going to do is we're just going to do something really simple, and we're just going to go vault policy write, and I did tester, right? So let's do tester CLI, tester-CLI. And then I'm going to do a EOF, and then I'm going to, so I have this whole thing written down, so I'm just going to copy the whole thing. And I'm going to pass the HCL in this file. Okay. So there you go. So hit enter. Success. Uploaded policy tester. So in this case, I made a policy called tester because I didn't rename it. So yeah, if it works, you should get success. If it doesn't, then you won't. And then I can go ahead and list these and see what policies I have inside of the admin namespace. Let's go ahead and take a look. I have tester, database, default root. Okay, so let's make a different one. And in this namespace, and it's going to be secret data test will be the path, but I'm going to name it tester-CLI and see what happens. So it has the same path, prefix, the same namespace, all that stuff, but I just gave it a different name. And it says it's successful. And if I do a list, I should see tester, and I should see tester-CLI. We'll just wait for that to work. All right, so there we go. So the rest of this is exactly the same. So if you wanted to create, like I did that admin education training database one, all you do is it's the same concept, you just update the prefix, right? So whatever your path is going to be, you would just update that. Okay, so this is a comment, right? But so here you would literally change this this path. So for we're doing it in secret, but like if you did education, for example, if I did vault policy write and I did education, let's see, what was the one that I wrote? I think database CLI is what I'll just name it, and then I do EOF, and then I pass in this path, then it's going to do it at education training database because I'm in the admin namespace. Did I miss something? Oh, probably that. So you need to make sure too many arguments. You need to make sure that you give it the exact same thing with the updated path, but you need to be in a different namespace. So you can always pass like the -ns for the namespace. This was such a dirty command. There's better ways to do this. So too many arguments. EOF path there, open bracket, capabilities equal this list, close bracket, EOF. Expected 2 got 5. Yeah, that's probably just my dirty ass copy and paste. So anyways, you can do just like I did here with the update. I actually copy and pasted this one. I just pasted part of that one and I typed part of it. So user error, you want to make sure all this is templated out. That's what I'd recommend at least. So anyways, this is the basics of vault policies. So go ahead and try to create your own vault policies inside of your cluster. Do different policies in different namespaces. Try to use the same policy in different namespaces, just different combinations. Get comfortable with it. And let me know how it goes. If you have any questions, let me know. But if not, I'll see you in the next one.